Namaste, everybody. Welcome to the discussion on the KenaUpanishad. So, this is sort of the first Upanishad which talks about the ultimate, which is different from the Vedic gods. So, Kena is sort of can be translated as by what or by whom, also translated as why or what is the underlying cause. So, the Kena Upanishad, as the name suggests, questions the root cause of all existence. So, what is the root cause of all existence is what it is wanting to answer. Therefore, it distinguishes between what is called true knowledge and what is only sensed, because your sense organs can be misleading, may not sense everything, it's limited, and so on. So, it's limited and erroneous. So, that is why it distinguishes between true knowledge versus what is sensed knowledge. And that is what leads the Kena Upanishad to conclude or define the notion of the ultimate or the invariant, which is called the Brahman. So things that vary, which are not invariant, that is, therefore keep changing, are by definition said to be not real. So when one says what is real, what we are saying is what does not change at all. So that is why the earth or the universe, etc., is viewed as not real, including our bodies, because we keep changing, the earth keeps changing, and so on. So let's start off with the background story to this. The Devas won a battle against the Asuras because of the ultimate. But the Devas thought that they were the powerful gods. Again, this is a typical Vedic sort of view where the yajnas are performed to these gods, and therefore they think they are very powerful. And they completely forgot the assistance that they got from the ultimate, or how they actually won because of the ultimate. So then, after some time, a very strange person appeared before them. So the main Vedic gods, Agni, Vayu, and Indra, said, hey, let's try to find out what this strange person or who this strange person is. So Agni went and the strange person said, what's your strength? And Agni said, I can burn anything. But the strange person placed a blade of grass and Agni couldn't even burn that blade of grass. Vayu said, no, 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 see, I can't burn, but I can blow things away. And then, but unfortunately, Vayu also could not blow away the blade of grass. So they went and said to Indra, look, this strange person is indeed very strange. Even this blade of grass they give, which is teeny tiny, we can't do anything. So Indra was confused, but Indra, being the leader of the Devas, uh, thought that, okay, let me actually try to understand what this is rather than be arrogant like Agni and Vayu. So he was then taught about the ultimate by Uma, or Shiva's wife, Uma. So that the strange person was none other than Brahman in some manifest form, who came to tell these devas that they are not as powerful as they think they are. So their source of strength is also from this ultimate. The Kena Upanishad, as I said, it asks various questions. So the first question it asks is, who or what sees through my eyes? Now, again, this is a very, very strange question. So again, we'll look at this in some detail. So what sees through my eyes, right? It's not what my eyes see, what sees through my eyes. Not that the eyes cannot see themselves. So that's what it is trying to lead to, and trying to understand what can see through the eyes. Similarly, it says what or who causes my mind to function. So what's the root cause? I mean, as I said, it wants to identify the root cause of all existence. So therefore, it asks about what causes my mind to function. So again, mind can reflect on itself, unlike the eyes. Eyes cannot see itself, but mind can reflect on itself. But it has often very contradictory thoughts, so it's not in a consistent place, and so on. So that is very, very confusing. So again, what is the cause of this contradiction? You would think that if the mind was stable, then you wouldn't have any such contradiction. So clearly the mind is not stable. So who or what causes my tongue? Of course, now we know it's not the tongue that speaks, but technically the vocal cords to actually speak. So I can generate different sounds, but what is it that enables that? Who or what hears through my ears? So this is similar to the eyes. What or who hears through my ears? So not what my ears hear, but what who hears through those ears. So here the question is not about the mechanics of seeing, speaking, hearing, or thinking. So, for example, it's not about how cameras work or speakers work or microphones work. We can give it various electronics or physics, like sound waves and things like that, or light waves and so on. It's not about that. It is about the experience of sensing and reactions. So when one says I'm happy to see the beach or I'm sad to see the devastation caused by an earthquake, what does this I and happiness and sadness actually mean? Is what it is trying to get at. So it's not the mechanics of how the eye works, but it's sort of what enables this eye to actually see. So the answers the KenaUpanishad says is the eye of the eye, which cannot be seen by the eye, is how what sees the eye. Or the ear of the ear, which cannot be heard by the ear. Right? Speech of the speech, which cannot be spoken by the tongue. So note that the tongue is limited, the eye is limited, the ear is limited. So the eye of the eye cannot be seen by the eye, and the ear of the ear cannot be seen by the ear. And similarly, the mind of the mind cannot be thought by the mind. So it's something beyond what the mind can normally think. And it says if you can really understand this, one attains immortality. Now, immortality, you can loosely translate it as moksha in our context. Ultimately, what this wants to say is it's beyond the body and the mind, and it is the introduction to what we now call consciousness. So note that consciousness is not the same as being conscious. Human beings are conscious, but that is not what this is talking about. This is talking about consciousness. So it is not an object, but a subject. So that means a subject can be sensed and understood, etc. But an object can be sensed and understood and so on, but the subject is not really understood unless the subject happens to be an object. But consciousness, it'll argue, is a pure subject. So, of course, objects need a subject to be sensed because it is a subject that is sensing the object. So these are the answers that the KenaUpanishad actually develops, ultimately defining what is consciousness. So let's delve into this in a bit more detail. So how do I know I have eyes? Well, seeing anything is sufficient. I don't have to see any particular thing. As long as I can see something, then I have experience of sight. Obviously, if I can see something, I have experience of sight, that means I have the eyes, even if I'm unable to see the eyes. Not that I can see the reflection of the eyes, but I can't see the eyes. But the experience of sight lets me conclude confidently that I do have eyes. Of course, things have to change to ensure that you're seeing, right? Because if I see a pen always, maybe the pen is implanted or imprinted into my eyes. My eyes are really not seeing. So when I keep seeing different things, then I know, yes, my eyes are working properly. And the same idea can be applied to ears, nose, tongue, mind, and so on. So what the KenaUpanishad says is any experience is illuminated by one's consciousness. So it is this consciousness that tells you that you're actually seeing in that sense. The the cause of seeing, hearing, etc., is consciousness. And one's consciousness is then defined to be the ultimate. The other lessons from the KenaUpanishad is that if you are arrogant, like the Devas are, it obscures knowledge. So that is why Devas have limited power. They're extremely arrogant. Brahman is all powerful, and I put the all powerful in quotes because at least in Advaita, Brahman is technically nirguna or does not have any properties. So if it does not have any properties, you cannot attach the adjective all powerful or whatever to it. So why couldn't Agni destroy the blade of grass? The blade of grass represents Brahman or the ultimate. So fire cannot destroy the Brahman. So Brahman is beyond destruction. Similarly, Vayu could not move Brahman because Brahman is there everywhere. So you can't say, no, Brahman, I'm moving you from A to B. You can move from A to B only if you're not there at B. If Brahman is there everywhere, obviously Vayu cannot move Brahman. So these are some of the links back to the story as to what is Brahman in that case. So this is also a trick question in the KenaUpanishad. So suppose after all this lesson and teaching, somebody says, do you not know Brahman? Well, if you say yes, you do not know, then the teacher assumes that you have not really understood the teaching. So maybe the teacher will not ask, do you not know Brahman? But the teacher says, do you know Brahman? Now, if you say yes, then you are viewing Brahman as an object, because what we call knowledge is all about the object world. I know that I'm sitting in front of a computer. I know I'm talking to this microphone in it. I know it is being recorded. All these things are basically objects. So I know certain things means I know that thing is an object. But as I said earlier, Brahman is not an object of knowledge. So you really cannot say, I know Brahman without any other qualifications to show that when you say no, you don't mean the traditional accepted definition of knowing. So what you need to say is, I cannot say I know Brahman, nor can I say I do not know Brahman. So Brahman is beyond our language or beyond our normal comprehension and indescribable. So that is what you are ultimately saying if you have really understood the concept of Brahman. So Brahman is not an object, it's pure consciousness. Because it is pure consciousness, you cannot say I know Brahman. At the same time, I cannot say I do not know Brahman. If I say I do not know Brahman, again, you can get into this argument, oh, you did not know it because it was an object, and so on and so forth. So the KenaUpanishad says, the last statement, I cannot say that I know Brahman, nor can I say I do not know Brahman, is the only way to answer one of these questions. It basically emphasizes that Brahman is beyond description using typical language. So again, it's a very, very brief talk, a very, very high level summary of the KenaUpanishad. So the conclusion is that Brahman is pure subject, ultimate experiencer of things good and bad. Brahman is pure existence and therefore cannot be described. So there's no notion of worship for Brahman. The Brahman again is not an object to which you are actually doing any worship. So the rituals are not for the ultimate. Advaita makes it clear, yes, you can perform rituals or you can sing bhajans, you can do all these things, but they are more to help you control the mind. They are not to sort of please the ultimate or, do anything like that. So Brahman is enabler, not the controller. So everything exists because of Brahman. So Brahman enables everything, but Brahman does not have any powers. It's nirguna, so it doesn't control anything. So the closest analogy again we can get is in terms of like electricity that enables the computers working, but it doesn't control it, right? I mean, humans control how the computer does what it does, what programs are run, and so on is controlled by the human. But the electricity is needed for the computer to be used by the human. So note that Brahman does not have the power to help one purify one's mind, which is why the rituals and pujas and satsangs and all these are important. So Brahman is the ultimate knower of all changes because he's the ultimate experiencer. So all changes, which is basically part of the experience, is known by Brahman. So including all the disturbances in one mind, all the things that one is seeing, everything is being experienced by Brahman. So in that context, Brahman is beyond Ishvara, the creator, and Bhagavan, who basically shares fortune with everybody. So in Advaita or Vedanta, there's no one notion of God. Brahman is one notion of God. Ishvara is another notion of God. Bhagavan is another notion of God, and they're all subtly different. So we have to be careful when we use these terms. So, of course, in English, we tend to use the word God, but then, if we were talking about Ishvara, I should say Creator God. Or when I say Bhagwan, I should say God who shares fortune or gives blessings or something like that. So that's the way I should explain. But Brahman is beyond all these type of gods. Brahman is also beyond all the devas and people like that. So let's see how can be put in practice. A person is sad and they go to a guru. So Guru talks about the KenaUpanishad and all and says, technically now that you have understood the KenaUpanishad, the real self is the witness of the sadness. Right? Your body or your mind is sad, but your true self, your real self, because it's a pure experiencer, is the witness of the sadness. So the person who went to the Guru said, yeah, I'm very happy, and tells the Guru, yes, thank you, Guru, I am very, very happy. The Guru immediately corrects the person. Technically, you are not happy. The real self is the witness of the happiness. So again, when I say I am happy, it's the real self in that case, not the body in the limited form. So the Guru says, again, the real self is the witness of the happiness. So the mind's reaction causes sadness and happiness, and Brahman, or the ultimate witness, also called Sakshi, is the witness of this changing of the mind, or the mind's reaction to different things, and the sadness and happiness. So I, the true self, am not happy or sad. I am the witness to the sadness and happiness. So that, in short, is a quick overview of the KenaUpanishad. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Namaste.